Alrighty, so what is up, guys? Universal Mastery, Jer here, and today I'm going to give you guys an important message, as always. It is also going to be a powerful message, so I hope that you let it resonate. So, with today's message, what it's going to be on is congruence. Let that soak in. Congruence. Okay, so if you don't know what congruence means, I will break it down for you. So basically, what congruence is when your personality is aligned with your external situations and you are being honest to who you are when these external situations lash out on you and they throw you shade, they throw you adversary, they throw you steps in the middle of the path. So being in congruence is being able to pass those tests, essentially. Being able to take a hardship with a grain of salt and not be defeated by it, but yet climb up the steps and move on to the next level from it. So, the importance of congruence, because I have mentioned this in my other videos about the importance of when there is hardship to move past, but this is going a little more in depth as to how to pass those tests, because it's easy for me to say, yes, you're supposed to pass your tests when you're tested, but I know that there's people watching this that don't know how to pass those tests, and that's what they need help with. So, to pass the tests, you want to be congruent with who you are as an individual. Now, what congruence means fully is always being honest to who you are. So essentially what it is knowing who you are, knowing what you allow to come in, and what you allow as a barrier. So what I mean by that is, what do you allow inside of your energetic bubble, and what do you keep out of that? That's your congruence. So if you can know the things that piss you off, let's say, if you know what you don't let happen, if you know what situations you won't submit to, what situations you won't let come in, basically, like, you know, you won't let people talk to you a certain way, you won't let people treat you a certain way. If you know that, then that's one pendulum. Now on the other pendulum, you know what you will let in. You know who you will communicate with. You know what value you will offer. You know what you will resonate with. You've got to know both of those pendulums. Now, the clarity of which you know these two pendulums is your congruence. So, essentially, these two pendulums, that's your personality. That is your character. That is who you are. And it shouldn't be fake. It should be 100% honest. You should know who you are. You shouldn't try and tweak either one of these to someone else's standards or to some situational standards. Essentially, you shouldn't have to do that. So, honestly, if you can be clear on both of these pendulums, then what you have to do in real life is adhere to them. So, for example, a hardship would be something that comes along your path and tries to interrupt these two pendulums, tries to interfere. So, for example, on this side, this is the side that you let in, the side that you spew out your value. You know, this is, let's say, the positive side. So, let's say you have someone toxic that's trying to get in on this side, but you're holding your ground. You're like, no, I don't let that happen over here. This is who I am. You're not meeting that requirement, so get away. That's passing a test. Now let's go on this end. This is the more negative side. This is the more, let's say, you don't tolerate people. You don't tolerate disrespect, let's say, okay? So someone makes a joke about you, and in their mind they're just making a joke, so they think. But really what that joke is offensive to you. Like it's one of those jokes that kind of corners you in a back wall, so you either have no choice but to joke back, or you just take a hit and you get blatantly disrespected. And if you're being congruent with who you are and you're in a learning state, you're trying to learn, and you're in a different paradigm, you don't feel like joking back, and you also don't feel like getting pinned against a wall, then this side would be like, hey, don't do that. Don't joke with me. Don't. Now, you don't have to say those words exactly, but you can say it with a certain energy of, okay. Okay, yeah. Uh-huh. All right. Which lets that person know telepathically, don't joke with me. I'm not in the mood right now. So you don't have to say it. You know, you don't have to stand up and be like, look, don't joke with me. If you want to do that, that's completely fine. That's very powerful within itself because you're honest, and no repercussions are going to happen from that. Only beneficial things. Don't fall into fear. Don't be like, oh my gosh, well, what if everyone doesn't like me, or what if something, like, don't be afraid. It's all going to be good. It's going to be better if you stand up for yourself. I promise. Good things come from that, because self-love is the most important thing. So now that we have a context for both of these pendulums, adhere to those. So when those situations come up, whatever the situation is, there's tons of different situations that could happen, but only you know, because we're all different. Now, these two pendulums that I gave you, that's kind of for me. That's who I am. You know, I don't like being disrespected. I don't like people trying to joke with me when I'm in a different state, when I'm trying to learn something and my mind is engaged with something else, and someone else is kind of being more jokey and they're more laid back and they're not in that same learning state as me. Obviously, I'm learning right now. Like, I can joke when I want. I can find that balance. But if I'm in a learning state, then I'm learning. So don't interrupt that with you trying to joke with me and you being lazier than me. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's fun. I don't like that. I don't let that slide with me. So I would stand up and I would say, hey, look, no. I'd be like, okay. And I would just give them some energy that just says, I'm not in the mood to joke right now. I'm learning. I wish I was in the mood to joke, but I'm learning. And guys, integrity is key. Learning is more important than always joking around and always finding the funny and everything. Like, you've got to take things serious. I know there's this thing going on in society right now that's like, oh, laugh it off, let it go. It's all fun and games. It's like, yeah, it's all fun and games until you're fucking 50 years old and you're still not doing shit in your life. That's all fun and games, isn't it? So, those are the two pendulums. You choose whatever, you know, what dictates your pendulum. And then you adhere to that. So the clearer you can adhere to what you let in and what you don't let in, the more congruent you're going to be. The more congruent you're going to be, the faster you're going to reach your goals. You're going to find that the more congruent you can be, a shift starts to happen in the brain, starts to happen spiritually, and it starts to happen physically. Where, for example, when you start being more congruent with yourself, you start loving yourself more. You start building a higher sense of self-confidence and self-trust and self-belief, which then translate to your spirituality. So imagine your third eye opening. You start manifesting what you want in life a lot quicker, a lot more efficiently, a lot more clearly. Now, the same thing happens in reverse. You don't adhere to your principles, then you start to lose self-love. So then when you start to lose self-love, you usually take that out on other people. So then you put your unself-love on other people. Then when you put it on other people, then that brings it out in them most of the time. And then that spews right back on you. So it's like they turn into a mirror. You put your lack of self-love on them, and it comes right back on you. And then what that does is it closes your third eye. So then you literally are not manifesting anything, but you're reinforcing this non-self-respect, non-self-love attitude, and you're just reinforcing it. So we want to reverse that with what I'm saying. You've got to have discipline to do this. I'm not saying this is easy, but it is pretty easy if you can do it. It's easy. It becomes easier the more you practice it as well. So this is something that you should always be doing, honestly, because there's no end to it. You're always learning, and the more you learn, obviously, the more you grow, and the more you grow, the more you achieve what you want in life. Now, that's whatever it is that you want. The more you grow, the more you pass those tests, the closer you get to that level of getting the things you want out of life. Life becomes a lot more magical. It speeds the process up. You start feeling like you're like a living God, if you will. You start manifesting things at your will. You create things out of nothing. You hear that? You create things out of nothing. Just all up here and up there. So that is the message that I want to give you about congruence and kind of the breakdown of what congruence is. I hope this video could offer value. Universal Mastery, that's my YouTube channel. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell if you like this video. And follow me on Instagram, Jer_477. Once again, Jer_477. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day or night wherever you're at. Peace.